Welcome to this DDI CADcast. My name is Quentin Rock, and today we'll cover the enhancements to the Weldment functionality in 2014. And there's really only two major enhancements to Weldment functionality in 2014. So let's get started. The first thing I want to take a look at in 2014 Weldments is the ability to propagate Kutless properties. If we jump into SOLIDWORKS and take a look at a Weldment part, you'll see what we mean by the cut list is the solid bodies folder gets converted over to cut list, and each one of these items actually has properties to it. You can see there's some by default, but you're free to add as many properties and descriptions and things as you want. What's different is the ability to now take those properties and insert those into saved components. So a lot of times with Weldments, we actually save some of these bodies out for individual part drawings or different things that we do with bill of material or manufacturing instructions, whatever it might be. But in previous versions, it was actually possible but a little bit difficult. So just kind of to go back to the slide and review, in 2013 you could actually take some of those cut list properties and propagate them depending on how you actually created the part or the extra body in the new part and transfer those over. So you'll see you actually had to right click after you inserted it into a new part, then add the Weldment feature to the tree, and then update the cut list property manually. So it was kind of a tedious thing. Most times if you ask anybody who's familiar with SOLIDWORKS, they'll just tell you it wasn't possible. But it was actually possible. It was just a little tedious, had very specific steps, and it only worked for certain scenarios like insert into new part. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. If I right click on the cut list property, you'll see that you don't get any items. You actually have to go to one of the bodies and you'll see insert into new part. You can also right click and do save or insert into new part at the top level, and I'll do that in just a second. But make sure you're on the cut list body. I'm just going to choose one just for our example, and I'll insert that into a new part. And here's where the new options come in. You can either propagate down to the cut list properties or the file properties. So let's go ahead and I'll just call this part, give it a generic name, 1, 2, 3. And I'll just first propagate these down to the file properties. So I go ahead and click OK, it does its magic, and I do have that part 1, 2, 3 open. You'll notice that the solid bodies folder is just a body. So if I go to file properties now, you'll see I do have all those properties in the custom tab. So that's what we mean by mapping to the custom properties or the file properties level. Let's go ahead and go back and do it the other way and take a look at the difference there. If I run that same command again, and this time I'm going to choose to cut list properties. We'll give it a name. We'll just overwrite the one I just did. And click OK. When we open it, you'll notice right away it created that Weldment feature for me. It added the cut list, and it actually went in and created the cut list and updated it for me. So now instead of mapping to the file properties, it maps to the cut list properties in there. So depending on what your end result is, you're probably going to do more than one body when you do something like this or map to cut list properties. But depending on the end result is you now have the ability to do this in 2014. A lot more seamless, no extra steps, no hidden knowledge base articles needed. So the other thing to mention is if you do the save bodies command or insert a mirror part, not just insert into new part, but the save bodies command back here, actually let's jump back to our main level and do save bodies, you'll notice as soon as I click one of these, we'll just give it a generic name, I now have that same set of options here to cut this. So in prior versions you can only do it and insert into new part. It was very specific to how you set it up. Now in 2014 it's just a lot simpler. You won't even probably think about it, but you do have the option here to go to file properties or cut list properties, so you can actually choose where those properties are mapped. And that's Propagate Cut List Properties Enhancement to 2014. The other big enhancement to Weldment functionality in 2014 is the Structural Member as Library Features enhancement. And basically what this boils down to is just configuration support. So they were always library feature parts inside of a folder that you map to for Weldment profiles, but they didn't have any support for configurations. And this is kind of a big issue. Let me take a look at SOLIDWORKS here. Many people don't realize that SOLIDWORKS actually out of the box doesn't give you a lot of profiles, I think the ANSI inch has something like 12 or 16 different profiles or something in there. But you can actually go to the SOLIDWORKS content and download, and it even tells you in this tooltip, control select, and it'll start the download for extra profiles. Now the only drawback to this is you download it, you extract it to your Weldments profile location, is it can have quite a bit of files. So for example, this is the ANSI inch statistics, just the Windows properties of the file that I downloaded. It's a zip file. Once extracted, it's 2100 files. So it's not very much disk space. It's not like we're going to run out, but that's just a lot of files to manage, and inherently has some problems when you have that many profiles. Number one, let's say that you want to add a point to locate the Weldment profile a little bit differently than out of the box. So that means you have to add another sketch point to the profile. Well, what happens if you have 30 or 40 different sizes? You have to go into each one of those, if they're common ones, and add that sketch point. So you can download that. Inside of, let's jump into SOLIDWORKS here, you'll see that I also want to show you that I've already extracted those ANSI inches. So you see they have subfolders, and then underneath they have all the different files. In the Weldment profiles for 2014, another directory I added here, it only needs one level down. It just needs the part, and what SOLIDWORKS will do is it will actually propagate that for you. Before I jump into that, let's just open up one of these other tube parts here and take a look, and you'll see that there's multiple configurations in these files. And in fact, one of the other benefits to this functionality is the ability to now use a design table to manage or quickly create your Weldment profiles. So you can see, I don't know how many are in here, but if I scroll down the list, you can see I'm at cell row 157 just on this particular one. And to add properties in a design table, you can just add another row, create another configuration, different sizes. You can fill out even do your Kutless properties from that design table. So very quickly you can add that, and you'll notice it's only one sketch for all 157 of those. So if I want to add another point to locate it here, maybe down the midpoint, I only have to edit a single sketch to do that, and it propagates down into every single one of those profiles inside there. So next time I use it, I now have that in there to locate it. Another big benefit is if I do want to go and edit this particular component, you'll see that again there's 2004 Weldment profiles. It picks the name of the part file, and then it propagates down the configuration. So it's smart enough to do that. If I just want to change this to say a little bit smaller or a little bit larger size, in a lot of cases in 2013, if you switched out that Weldment profile, the sketch 1 relations or the planes or something would be off, and then now all of a sudden you have a lot of dangling entities. So replacing has gotten a lot easier now that we have configuration support inside of structural members. Well, that wraps up this CADcast. For more CADcast topics, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ddicad or our tech blog at ddicad.com/techcenter. Thanks for watching.